Cloudwati. So today we are going to see the difference between the two terms virtualization and cloud computing. So we generally discuss about cloud computing where we say like cloud computing is the place where the resources are just available over the internet, right? And the same thing is with the virtualization also. Virtualization actually means you can use the resources from anywhere, right? So are both these terms similar? Does virtualization equals cloud computing? So we need to know about this because there are so many virtualization softwares, right? Like we have like VMware, we have VirtualBox. All those softwares actually provide you virtualization, but or they provide you the cloud computing services as well? No, right? So there is a very sharp difference between your virtualization and the cloud computing, right? So when we talk about virtualization, if you take virtualization, right, it focuses only on abstraction of the physical resources. So you may have already installed or used VMware, right? So VMware, like you have your laptop in that you have your host operating system, and then you'll be installing VMware, and that VMware will actually hide all the underlying physical resources, and it will just take a part of your physical hardware like your laptop's RAM and ROM and it will allocate to the guest operating system. So wherein like you can install a Windows 7 or you can install Linux or you can install a Kali Linux, right? So it generally hides or abstracts the physical resources and allowing multiple operating systems to run on your guest operating system. This is what generally a virtualization does, right? It focuses only on the abstraction of the underlying physical resources only. But when we take cloud computing, they actually go a step beyond that, right? Cloud computing is not just abstraction of the physical resources only. It is not just the availability of resources, but if I go and spin up a VM, right, I can choose whatever combination I want, right? So I can go for a Ubuntu machine, or I can go for a size. The RAM size can be the size can be a D4S, or I can go for a graphics intensive, or I can go for a memory intensive, right? For database, I can go for IOPS like processing intensive, right? I can choose whatever resources I want, and with the click of a button in Azure portal, right, or in AWS portal, you will be able to spin up a VM or an EC2 instance, right? So I can choose whatever combination I want. I can choose a operating system, I can choose a size, I can choose the storage unit, like I can go for a premium HDD or I can go for a SSD, right? I can go for whatever networking options, right? I can select all these options, but at the back end, someone have to pick this up, right? We will make API calls to select the corresponding devices and then configure it together so that we can come up with the cloud computing, right? So in a cloud computing world, we focus both on abstraction, where it is like the hiding of the physical resources. I don't have any control over those physical resources, and everything would be managed by the cloud service provider themselves. So it does abstraction and also it does something called orchestration. Orchestration means automating in the back end, right? So I can choose different sets of devices and based on my selection or based on the customer selection, it will pick the corresponding resource and combine together to form a VM, right? All this is driven over a API calls, right? And without even user making any API call with the click of a button, based on their selection, the resources would be configured in the backend, right? And this is what a cloud computing does. So a virtualization will focus only on your abstraction of the resources, but a cloud computing will be focusing on both abstraction as well as orchestration. What is orchestration? Orchestration is the automated provisioning. So I can select any combination I want, and I can just click a create button, and the cloud service provider will automate in the backend. It will choose the device just like the vending machine. It will choose whatever the user has selected, and then it will this selection, all this would happen over API, and this will combine together the user requested combination, and it will configure it as a VM and provision it to the user. So this is what a cloud computing does. Hope this is clear. See you tomorrow.